I would say with Crawford did a better job of with the children, helping us to transition into coaching them through. But I was raised by a single parent, and everything was very authoritarian. Just one side of the conversation, and so I just had rules, and just trying to micromanage their life.
Yeah.
And my husband had to remind me we have to entrust what we're teaching them a respect and responsibility to letting them go to do things. It's not on your list, Karen. And that stuff can be hard, so he just helped me as my better partner to help with our children, to letting them go. If they're going to be okay, Karen, because we've entrusted them with rules and guides and things like that, and it's going to be all right. So I had to bite my tongue lots of times.
Yeah, but I think there's a principle involved here. Just looking back in the rearview mirror, sometimes you wish you knew then what you know now.
Yeah.
And but that's the reason why you have grandkids, right? So looking back in the rearview mirror, I think that the challenge of parenting is that you have to embrace change. You have to embrace change. That you can't, if you're going to raise healthy kids, you can't continue to relate to them the same way that you want to relate to them. And Russ and I probably have similar personalities. The easiest thing to do is say, "Hey, no, that's don't you understand about? No, let's get on to the next thing." But that's not gonna work. You raise your kids to walk toward God and to walk out your door from the time they're born. So that's a hard thing. But what's the alternative?
Yeah, you don't want them walking back in.
That's right.
Emotionally crippled.
That's right.
Yes. Emotionally crippled.
And that's the alternative. And so that means that that means you have to adjust, you have to change, because this is so morbid to say this, we're going to be very dead one day. And you don't want to develop hyper-dependent children.
Right.
Yeah.
But I would say in one of those transitions, one of the things I learned, because I said no to motorcycles. I was a nurse anesthetist until I quit to raise my kids. And I've been in too many orthopedic and neuro rooms. And so no motorcycles, you're not going to, I gave them great reasons why. And that's why we're not doing it. I know it's fun. As soon as they got out, 2 of them bought motorcycles. They weren't listening. So then I have no recourse except to pray. Because only God can take care of them. They're on their own. I'm not going to micromanage them then.
Yeah, mom's not going to go down to college and harp at them to get rid of the motorcycle.
So I had to switch to counsel if they asked. And they already knew what I thought.
Right. So praying. Love that. This stage probably drives that more than anything. Yeah. Talk about the teaching side or the spiritual side. Crawford, you mentioned principles, but you're not, I feel like, again, there's this phase of teaching directly the word, but now you're not in relationship as often. How are you still bringing God's word into the conversation as you're maybe getting less direct time and maybe teaching less directly with your kids? How did you all handle that?
Well, I think that you reach a point where you realize, and I love Russ's progression there. You reach a point where, I say that there's 3 20-year segments in an adult life, where from 20 to 40 is learning, 40 to 60 is leveraging, and 60 beyond is leaving. And I mean, at this point, you should become the portrait of the desired destination in which your children and grandchildren should arrive. And so your major impact is modeling, being that picture, and I don't mean a picture of perfection, a picture of grace, quick to forgive, quick to ask for forgiveness. And I think that becomes incredibly attractive to your grandchildren, especially, and to your children, where, the wise thing you did, that's hard to do, where your kid buys a motorcycle when they're gone, and they know how you feel about that. And yet you're not going to drip on them every time they're around. So you have to adjust.
Yeah.
And so I think that's the movement that we need to embrace.